James Woods can say is, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When a ball turned into a vampire, all James Woods could say was, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he became Peter's best friend, they sat around the house and said, piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. And you know that James Woods practices lingerie well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, a piece of candy, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout. Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When they know that he's nectar, the best of them all, what he says. Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. Reese's Pieces on the floor and watch him come a saying, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. And you know that James Woods practices lingerie well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout. Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. Piece of candy.
That girl, we have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest.
I am a revolutionary, and you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people.
As a councilwoman, do you think you should really be in handcuffs? Does that send a good message? You're breaking the law?
This is about political leadership. All the best activists in the past and in the present have put their lives on the line to fight for the rights of workers.
They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Oh yeah. Howdy, 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 howdy ho. Howdy hee ho. It's me, your Uncle Warren here. Welcome to another fine edition of Extra Bulla or Extra Bulla. Yeah. Anyway, we got a little treat for you tonight. We'll get to that in just a second. First off, I was absentito last week. I was at the New York Comic-Con at the Javits Center here in lovely New York City. We'll get to that in a little bit. Also, next week, coming up on the show, Lord Willin and the Creek Don't Rise. We're going to have Daryl, good friend of ours from Twitter. You may know him as Black in the Empire. He's going to be with us next Thursday night. Couple old dudes talking old day stuff, back in the day kind of thing. I've been wanting to speak to him for a while. So shout out to Spittin' Venoms in the chat. What's up, my friend? Coming up tonight, it's going to be kind of a short show this evening, probably. We're going to be talking about the general strikes that are supposed to be going on tomorrow, October 15th. That's a little less than 5 hours away here on the East Coast. And there's a garbage truck outside. Good thing this ain't smell-o-vision in more ways than one, because I had some chili earlier and I put some of that Tostitos salsa con queso, and I put that in there too. Delicioso. It was good going down. But we know there's always a price to pay later for that. So later in the show, talking about Comic-Con, we'll be talking about the strikes. I've got some information here. We're going to go over some of the various strikes that are going on across the country right now. Also, it's Striketober call-in show. We're going to try this tonight. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I don't even think I got this hooked up. I don't even think I turned on Skype. We're going to figure that out here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and do that now. Let's see what happens. All right. So that's there. So, yeah. I don't know how well this is going to work, but we'll figure it out. So first off, let us talk about the strikes that are going on here. Let's get this set up here. This was, I've got the AP News open here because it has a list of all the strike activities going on. Nebraska, this is from about an hour ago. Nebraska lawmakers voiced support for Kellogg's workers. We'll look into that. 17 Nebraska lawmakers are voicing support for Kellogg's cereal workers who are on strike at the company's Omaha plant and others. The senators said today that they sent a letter to Kellogg's CEO and the company's labor contract negotiating team to show, quote, unwavering solidarity, unquote, with the unionized workers. That's good. So maybe what we've got going on tomorrow, let's take a look at that real quick. The National General Strike. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit on that. So this is tomorrow, October 15th. Like I said, about less than 5 hours away. Let's see. So, these are various folks that have gotten together on here. We are powered by the people, from each according to their ability, to each according to their needs. Our organization is completely independent. We are not supported or funded by any corporations, nor do we profit off of any injustice. This is octoberstrike.com. If you want to check it out for yourself. They're based in the Midwest. Their team manages social media, the website, and community outreach in their spare time because they believe in a future where the working class benefits from its own efforts. The team is currently in contact with labor unions to establish a larger basis with vested interest in our cause. We're also contacting congressmen to garner political support and levy our demands. So let's go back to what's going on in Nebraska here. So this is the Kellogg strike that's going on. Let's see if we can go back and maybe go over what, let's see, where is this? I knew this was down here somewhere. A lot of strikes going on right now. In fact, let's just go through the list here. So Deere, this went down today. John Deere and Company workers go on strike after rejecting contract. Okay, more than 10,000 Deere and Company workers went on strike today, the first major walkout at the agricultural machinery giant in more than 3 decades. The union has said its members would walk off the job if no deal has been reached Wednesday. Apparently it wasn't. The vast majority of the union rejected a contract offer earlier this week that would have delivered 5% raises to some workers and 6% raises to others at the Illinois company known for its green tractors. The almost 1 million UAW retirees and active members stand in solidarity with the striking UAW members at John Deere, President Ray Curry said. Brad Morris, Vice President of Labor Relations for Deere, said the company is committed to a favorable outcome for our employees, our communities, and everyone involved. He said Deere wants an agreement that would improve the economic position of all employees. 35 years have passed since the last major Deere strike, but workers were emboldened to demand more this year after working long hours throughout the pandemic and because companies are facing worker shortages. And the reason why they're facing worker shortages, it's not because there's a lack of actual labor, it's because there's a lack of any willingness to pay people what they're worth, more or less. You're seeing, we're going to get to a story here in just a second about people quitting their jobs, but let's look more at these strikes that are happening. And like I said, there may be some more tomorrow, but these are the ones that are happening either now or will be happening very shortly. The Film TV Workers Union says their strike will begin next week. The union representing film and television crews says its 60,000 members will begin a nationwide strike on Monday if it does not reach a deal that satisfies demands for fair and safe working conditions. A strike would bring a halt to filming on a broad swath of film and television productions and extend well beyond Hollywood, affecting productions in Georgia, New Mexico, and other North American shoots. Hey, Combo Couch. Hi, fam, dropping in to show love. Thanks for covering stuff. Aw, Fee. This is for you, Fee. You're so sweet. Thanks, doll. Yeah, so, and I don't know if you guys know it or not, Georgia is one of the, Georgia and Louisiana, I believe, are one of these low-tax states that you see a lot of filming going on in. So, there's going to be some revenue loss there, but, you know, it is what it is. International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, International President Matthew Loeb said yesterday that the strike would begin at 12:01 a.m. Monday unless an agreement is reached on rest and meal periods and pay for its lowest paid workers. Loeb cited a lack of urgency in the pace of negotiations for setting a strike date. Without an end date, we could keep talking forever. Our members deserve to have their basic needs addressed now. A strike would be a serious setback for an industry that had recently returned to work after a long pandemic shutdowns and recurring aftershocks amid new outbreaks. So yeah, so they just came off of these lengthy delays because of COVID, and I think they've been back to shooting earlier this year. I'm not quite sure when that time was, but now, boom, here come the strikes. Folks have reported working conditions deteriorating and being aggravated. Jonas Loeb, IATSE's Director of Communications, told the AP last week, and these 60,000 behind-the-scenes workers that are under these contracts are really at a breaking point. It would be the first nationwide strike in the 128-year history of the IATSE, whose members include cinematographers, camera operators, set designers, carpenters, hair and makeup artists, animators, and many others. Wow, 128-year history. First nationwide strike. So that really tells you what's going on as far as where workers' mindsets are at. People are just getting fed up with this shit. And hopefully this will snowball, and hopefully events tomorrow will help push along more of these strikes nationwide. Union members say they are forced to work excessive hours and are not given reasonable rest via meal breaks and sufficient time off between shifts. Leaders say the lowest paid crafts get unlivable wages, and streamers like Netflix, Apple, and Amazon are allowed to pay even less under previous agreements that allowed them more flexibility when they were up-and-comers. So that's the TV and film industry. Kaiser Permanente faces strike votes in California and Oregon. More than 24,000 nurses and other healthcare workers at Kaiser Permanente in California and Oregon have overwhelmingly authorized a strike, threatening to walk out over pay and working conditions strained by the coronavirus pandemic. Kaiser, one of the nation's largest healthcare providers, has proposed a two-tiered wage and benefit system that would give newer employees lower pay and fewer health protections. The unions want Kaiser to abandon that plan. They also want 4% raises for each of the next 3 years and a commitment to hire more nurses to relieve staffing shortages. Maybe don't get rid of the unvaccinated healthcare workers. Just, I don't know. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Kaiser has offered 1% a year with additional lump sums and says it must reduce labor costs to remain competitive. I don't believe that for one moment. Kaiser is huge. The regional strike vote comes amid national contract negotiations between Kaiser and the Alliance of Healthcare Unions, which represents more than 20 unions covering more than 50,000 Kaiser workers nationwide. More strike authorizations could come in Colorado, Georgia, Hawaii, Maryland, Virginia, Washington State, and the District of Columbia, said the unions. So, there you have it. Kaiser. So far we're talking about these tractor and agricultural machinery manufacturers, TV workers, healthcare workers. I mean, it's a broad range. Also, there's group home workers, 150 of them in Connecticut. Let's get to that. Nearly 150 group home workers go on strike. Others have settled. Nearly 150 unionized group home workers went on strike Tuesday, while another 100 have reached an agreement with their employer and called up their threatened walk-off. Employees at Sunrise Incorporated, which operates 28 group homes for people with disabilities across Connecticut, started forming picket lines at 6 a.m. at 4 locations in Hartford, Columbia, New London, and Danielson. Most of these workers are making less than $17 an hour. They have to pay $6,000 in monthly premiums for family health insurance coverage at Sunrise and no retirement pension to look forward to in their elder years. That's Rob Barrow, president of the New England Healthcare Employees Union District 1199 SEIU. In recent weeks, nearly 1,000 union workers have signed new wage and benefit agreements with their group home and day program agencies. Those new contracts rely on more than $184 million in additional state funding provided by Governor Ned Lamont's administration that have included up to 20% wage increases for workers with the lowest salaries and up to a 90% reduction in health care premiums. The 28 Sunrise homes and day programs serve more than 160 people in Brooklyn, Columbia, Danielson, East Hartford, Glastonbury, and other places around Connecticut. I'm tired. I'm drained. I've been at Sunrise for 24 years. It's time that they do the right thing. No one at our agency takes insurance because it's not affordable. You know, where we heard that before. We haven't had a pay raise in 15 years, said Jennifer Brown, a direct care worker in Connecticut, said. There is a new contract for Seattle carpenters. The Seattle area carpenters have approved a new contract with their employers following a nearly 3-week strike that slowed construction work across the region and exposed internal divisions among the union's 12,000 members. Let's see. This was, like I said, this was Monday. So the Northwest Carpenters Union said its members voted about 54 to 46% in favor of the deal. So it's a pretty close vote. Union members in Western Washington went on strike September 16th. Then went back to work last week after the union reached the tentative deal with the Association of General Contractors in Washington. Yeah, and this is the Reno, Nevada. Reno bus contractor union trying again to settle bus strikes. All those bus strikes, a lot of bus strikes going on across the country. Union leaders at the Washoe County contractor, and the Washoe County contractor that operates Reno's regional bus system were headed back to the bargaining table Thursday. I believe that's today. No, that was last week. Sorry. So this was last week. So they went back to the bargaining table last week to try to negotiate the end of a nearly 2-week strike, the second since August. Lots of strikes. Strike. And then, like I said, tomorrow, this is National General Strike Day. So some of the things you can do is contact your representative, contact your senator, notify your employer, and some information on the site here. Like I said, that's octoberstrike.com. I believe these are downloadable reading materials. National General Strike. Let's see. Reviving the strike, late stage capitalism. A lot of good information here. So this kind of goes along with what's going on with people who are just quitting their jobs as well. Kind of the silent general strike, if you will. Americans are quitting jobs at record rates while job openings tick down. And this is from CBS. Americans quit their jobs at a record high pace in August, with almost 3% handing in their resignations, the government reported on Tuesday. Number of quits increased in August to 4.3 million, which is 242,000 more than in July. The quits rate increased to a new high of 2.9%. By comparisons, employers laid off 1.3 million workers in August. Labor Department said the jump in quits is the highest on records dating back to December 2000 and up from 4 million in July. Hiring also slowed in August, the report showed, and the number of open jobs fell to 10.4 million from a record high 11.1 million the previous month. The data strongly suggests that the Delta variant wreaked havoc on the job market in August as COVID-19 cases surged. Quits jumped in restaurants and hotels. Yes, I figured in the service industry there, and rose in other public-facing jobs such as retail and education. Job openings fell in August for the first time this year. Nick Bunker, director of research at the Indeed Hiring Lab, the decline here suggests that the rising case counts in August tempered employer demand for new hires. At the same time, the quits rate for leisure and hospitality jumped by over 20% in just 1 month. So some crazy stuff going on there. Some of the factors: when workers quit, it is typically seen as a good sign for the job market because people typically leave jobs when they already have another position or are confident they can find a new one. The large increase in August likely reflects the fact that with employers desperate for workers and raising wages, many workers feel they can get better pay elsewhere. But the fact that the increase in quits was heavily concentrated in sectors that involve close contact with the public is a sign that the fear of COVID also played a large role. Many people have quit even without other jobs to take. Interesting. The nation's unemployment rate fell to 4.8% from 5.2%. And as a lot of people have discovered, those numbers are a bit a bit misleading. It's probably higher than that. Due to a combination of unemployed workers finding jobs and people leaving the labor force, meaning they're no longer counted as unemployed since they are not actively seeking new work. That's the thing. It's like if they're not counting them, that means there's going to be more. There's going to be more than that 4.8%. The labor participation rate, a measure of people working or searching for work, ticked down to 61.6% in September from 61.7% in August. So, not a big fan of Robert Reich, but some of his takes are a bit but he does have a pretty decent story here from The Guardian. Is America experiencing an unofficial general strike? And I think we are. I think we are there. Across the country, people are refusing to return to back-breaking or mind-numbing low-wage jobs. Last Friday's jobs report from the U.S. Department of Labor elicited a barrage of gloomy headlines. New York Times emphasized weak jobs growth and fretted that hiring challenges that have bedeviled employers all year won't be quickly resolved, and rising wages could add to concerns about inflation. For CNN, it was another disappointment. For Bloomberg, the September jobs report misses big for a second straight month. Disorganized or organized American workers now have bargaining leverage to do better. After a year and a half of the pandemic, consumers have pent-up demand for all sorts of goods and services, but employers are finding it hard to fill positions, which is kind of interesting because there's also empty shelves, too. I don't know if you've, I think the hashtag on Twitter was empty shelves Biden or something like that. So there seems to be a supply pinch in the chain, and that is also going to do some damage as well. Over the past year, job openings have increased 62%, yet overall hiring has actually declined. Americans are also quitting their jobs at the highest rate on record. Like we said, 4.3 million people in August said, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. And that's about 2.9% of the workforce, up from the previous record set in April, which had another 4 million people quitting. All told, about 4 million American workers have been leaving their jobs every month since the spring. Excellent. I mean, not excellent if it's a bad deal, but it's excellent in the fact that people are just tired of putting up with this. Putting up with these employers, particularly in the service industries, where you have a lot of customer-facing employees. Even before the pandemic, you were seeing a lot of fed-up people, and I think now is the time to get the ball rolling with more and more strikes. So, like we said, tomorrow is National Strike Day, and according to their website here from octoberstrike.com, the U.S., one of the reasons they want to get these strikes going, the United States is the only developed country that requires 0 paid time off for its for maternity leave. Unemployment rose to 14% in 2021 because companies refused to raise wages. Only 100 corporations are responsible for 71% of all global carbon emissions. Federal minimum wage hasn't been raised since in 12 years. 40 million Americans live at or below the national poverty line. Pharmaceutical companies are extorting patients for medications, and the average American is over $90,000 in debt just to afford basic necessities like housing, food, clothes, education, and medical bills. So, in an effort to combat this tyranny, proposing national strikes starting on the 15th, that is tomorrow. This demonstration serves to show your company and our country as a whole that you deserve basic human rights. Some of the goals here: 25% corporate tax rate, no loopholes. It should be, that is like a bare minimum, I would assume. Depending on the higher income rates, I would assume that number would go up. Free health care for all, of course, like any modern country besides us here has. 12 weeks paid paternity and maternity leave, a $20 minimum wage. So a $15 minimum wage, that was proposed like 10, 15 years ago. And back then, yes, was a good wage. But now it's not particularly that good. In some areas of the country where the cost of living is extremely low, you know, some of these employers might be hit hard by that. But in the long run, when you raise wages, it's like a rising tide lifts all boats. You raise these wages, then your employees have more spending power in the market. It helps other businesses as well. It helps the economy in that community, and which is a win-win for everybody. So you've got to raise those wages. $20 is not it's not a hard ask. That could be done. It's just you have people in the government who have donors, who have handlers that don't want that to happen. They're also talking about a 4-day work week. I agree with that. Stricter environmental regulations on corporations, bans on single-use and microplastics, and limited emissions. So what they're saying is tomorrow, don't go to work, don't buy anything. Get what you can tonight. I guess you got a few hours. But we have to send a message to these companies across the country that, if you can't afford to pay people what they're worth, maybe you shouldn't be in business, right? You have to figure wages into what you're going to need for your business. You're talking about supplies that you need for maintenance for the actual company. You're talking about how much of a lease are you gonna buy the building outright? Are you gonna lease it? That sort of thing. Plus, you also have to figure in fair wages, right? People are tired of working for dog shit wages. So, it's come to this, and really the pandemic has put a huge spotlight on this issue as people are just not wanting to risk getting COVID for pennies on the dollar. If a lot of the heroes from last year are now being booted out because they're unvaccinated. It's just ridiculous. Like I said, so one of the things they say: abstain from going to work tomorrow. Do not participate in economic activity. Contact your local representatives to express demands. Spread the word and inform your family, friends, and colleagues about the strike, and increase class consciousness by educating those around you through their Learn page. And that's the link that they have here, which is basically, I think it's just their resources page. Yeah. Now, some of the, there's also a petition you can sign on here. Let's take a look at that. the National General Strike. So far, over 23,000 have signed this petition for the National General Strike. Now there's like, well, I want to strike, but I don't want to get shit canned. So, will I get fired? The law provides some protection for striking workers. Companies fire people for illegal reasons all the time, so please use caution and use your own discretion when disclosing to your employer. The NLRA protects your right to strike even if you are not a union member because you are engaging in concerted activity. National Labor Relations, I believe that's what that is. Companies have tried to retaliate before and it doesn't look good for them. So when they do try to retaliate, make sure that you put that shit on Front Street. All right? Because bad news is not good advertising for companies that do that. There's a basic guide to the National Labor Relations Act. That's what the NLRA is. There's a link to that on here. And more information if you cannot do that. And if you absolutely cannot take off, you can still support the movement by spreading the word through the links below. They have Facebook, Twitter, and also email links that you can share. So, yeah, there you have it. Tomorrow, October 15th, let's do this. We can, we need to send a message, and I really do hope we get that done. I need to do some going to the bathroom stuff. So we're going to take a little quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about New York Comic Con, because that's interesting. Yes, more music from the Hamburger Hobos, friends of mine from North Mississippi. Thanks for that. And I forgot how hard this show is to do when you don't have a guest. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. Thing going on this week, just doing whatever. And like I said, this is probably going to be somewhat of a short show, but if you want to call in, let's see where this is. Like I said, we got the Striketober. That's the hashtag, too, if you want to use that. There's General Strike and also Striketober, which is kind of nice. If they do it next month, will it be Strokevember? That's probably not good. So, if you want to call in, God help us all. The number is 718-404-9208. That's 718-404-9208. 404-9208. I doubt we'll have any callers. The only person that has called me on that number was some number out of Texas trying to get me to change my car insurance, which is funny because I don't even own a car, so I don't know how that works. Anyway, we got a new segment. It's looking at Twitter shit, and it's called the Twitter Shitter.
Shitter was full!
That's right. Damn right, the shitter was full. Let's look at this shit. These are some images from Comic-Con at the Javits Center in Manhattan. My lady and I, we go every year. We've been going for the past 11 years. We didn't go last year because they didn't have it because of the big C. That was not cool. But it's 4 days, and you say, well, what's Comic-Con? What is this bullshit? Well, it's all kinds of stuff. TV shows, anime, manga. We did get to go to some pretty decent panels. We got to see Captain Kirk, William Shatner. For those who don't know, he went up into space yesterday in one of those I call it a dickmobile. It's one of those rockets that looks like a dick. See if we can find that shit. Yeah, that was pretty neat. Let's see here. Let's do this. We're done with that. So, yeah. So I think he was the oldest person. Yeah, the oldest person to go to space. "90 years old. On a rocket. All those G-forces. Which is kind of funny. That I swear I knew he was gonna. I thought for sure he was gonna shit his pants.
Oh Jesus!
Carmen line.
No description can equal this weightlessness.
Space, the final frontier.
Yeah.
So rich people going into space. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, I'm telling you.
I'm amazed his hairpiece didn't come off, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's some crazy shit.
I can't believe this.
God.
Weightlessness. Oh.
Yeah, Bill's kind of a big guy, too, for a 90-year-old, so weightlessness, I'm pretty sure, was kind of a good thing. Oh, and here's our favorite shit lib, George Takei, calls William Shatner an unfit guinea pig after space flight. That's nice. Stay classy, Georgie. Good job there, pal. So anyway, that was Bill. He was at Comic-Con last Friday, I believe. And so what it is you go in there and depending on what it is, like if it's a really popular person or a TV show, they have this huge room that everybody sits in. Everyone was required, because it's New York, everyone was required to be vaccinated, right? So begrudgingly, I've been vaccinated. That's a whole other kettle of fish. So what it is you would go and you'd get a wristband, a green wristband, before you went in. You would show your ID and you would show your vaccination card, and then you'd get this green band and then you could go into the event. And we have these, let's see, shit like this, a pass. So you have that around your neck, and then it's has an RFID chip in here, so I'm pretty sure the government's watching me right now. Sorry, government. Yeah. So, and these things are very hard to get. It's not like you can I'm just going to go online and get some passes. There are so many rabid nerds out there who are down for this shit. I mean, worse than the nerds like me. I'm also wearing my Shazam shirt in honor of Comic-Con. And Spider-Man britches. That's some good stuff too. Somebody left these behind, and we're like, oh, you don't want it? Okay, we'll take it. Free stuff. Yeah, so it was 4 days for us. You could go any day, but it was 4 days for us. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's why there was no show last week, because I was in Nerd City. So, yeah, and while you were in there, you had to wear a mask, too, unless you were on stage. And, we saw many panels. One of them was The Boys, and Karen Fukuhara is my secret crush. I don't want my lady to know, although she already knows. And I can't hide anything from her. She knows all this stuff. But it was fun. You despite all the bullshit of having to wear a mask and all that stuff, it was great. One of my favorite shows, The Expanse. These guys here, Stephen Strait and Wes Chatham. I don't know if you've ever seen The Expanse. It's a hell of a show. One of the more realistic, futuristic space shows. It's basically about Mars and the asteroid belt both being colonized, and there's factions, a lot of storylines. Of course, there's Earth as well, and that sort of thing. So yeah, fun stuff. And one of my favorites, though, was these two. Edward James Olmos and Mary McDonald from the Battlestar Galactica reboot from the early 2000s. And very great to see these old cats. I love that show as well. And they're great friends, too. A lot of this is unimportant stuff, but, you have to give yourself some entertainment options, all right? We're trying to get, we're trying to do good things in the world, trying to help people, trying to spread the news that the mainstream media is not going to be spreading. And, we have to do our due diligence. But at the same time, we need a little self-care. Sometimes you have to take a step back, do some stuff for yourself, keep your sanity in check, so that way you can be energized and do the work that you need to do. And that's what Comic-Con, it's a once-a-year thing, and it's also around my lady's birthday, so it's always a blast to see her having fun. She's not quite as politically minded as I am, although she's more into local New York issues like affordable housing. She's of Chinese descent, so she keeps an eye on issues that involve not only Chinese folks, Chinese Americans, but also other Asian Americans that are really dealing with hardships, not only here in New York, but across the country, too. But she is a bigger nerd than I am. So, if you could believe that. She's a sexy nerd, but a nerd nonetheless. So, here's some more pictures. This crazy dude over here scared the shit out of me. I kind of turned around and saw him. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, it looks like Batman and Mr. T had a baby. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, we got to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. They screened the whole thing. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's very excellent. Totally enjoyed it, and I think you will too. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, here's some more pictures here. Pikachu! And it's great to see. Like I said, we've been going for about 11 years, and it's great to see newcomers come in there. I don't know if any of you've ever been to New York or ever seen the Javits Center, but it's just basically a huge glass building, and they just added a wing to it that is pretty incredible, so they could have more events in there. These guys. And this show floor is just amazing. There's just like so much crap. They sell you all kinds of stuff. Let's see if we can get a picture here. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. You can like buy books, you can buy trading cards, clothing, I mean, all kinds of stuff. And they would and we got some freebies on there too. We're old and cheap, so we like the freebies. You get to that point where free shit rocks. Oof. Can't get enough. Sorry, not trying to stan on Karen there, but she is a cutie patootie. And it's all ages too. I met this guy Bob, super nice guy. This is not Bob, but I'm sure this guy is pretty nice, despite the evil look in his eyes. But there was this guy Bob who I met at the very beginning, 72 years old. Said it's probably going to be his last Comic-Con, but he had been going for since 2009, I guess, since they started doing that, which was kind of cool. And I'm 52, and he had more energy than me. I don't know how he did it, but he said this is his last one. So, Bob, if you're listening out there, somehow, rock on, brother. I hope you have I hope you had a good time this year. So yeah, and like I said, I would usually do take a lot of pictures, and I did, but it was just more of like, okay, let me get a snap, and that'll be it, kind of thing. This is more of the cast from The Boys, and there's that's the moderator, that's Homelander, that's the Deep, that's Huey, that's Karen, and that's Starlight. If you watch that show, I think season 3 is about to begin pretty soon, but I don't know, with the strike looming, who knows? Now, I don't know, but I mean, I see all these cosplay people and I think, wow, this is great stuff, but that is a lot of work. That is a lot of work, Junior. But this is what I'm talking about. You see all up here, this is all glass. The roof is glass. And actually, on top of the roof, I think on the new area, and maybe on this old part too, they have green areas up there. So they have strips of grass up there. And I believe they also are growing some sort of food plants up there. I'm not quite sure how that works, or what it's for. But yeah, that's the Javits Center. And that's where we were for 4 days, living our best life. But it was a good time had by all. And like I said, you got to have those fun times. Doesn't look like anybody, hey, Lucky Burrito is here. You're just in time for the end. All right. No big deal. Thanks for showing up. I'll be there for the after party, for the Steve Cutler Live after party. I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, we'll try this call-in nonsense again sometime soon. In the meantime, like I said, we're going to wrap this up a little early. And, next week we will have Daryl Black in the Empire. Anyway, have a great night, y'all. And as they say, we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.